This little presentation is intended to give you some information about Hope After Loss, which is a New Haven, Connecticut-based organization that's dedicated to assisting uh, pregnancy and infant loss survivors. So to start out, I wanted to give you a little bit about me and my story, how I came to find Hope After Loss. So it took my husband and I a very long time to get pregnant, 10 years in fact. And when we finally did conceive, our son was due on our 11th anniversary. It was a very normal pregnancy. There were no issues, wasn't high risk. He was a very active baby. We certainly didn't foresee any problems. I did struggle with bonding with him because it was surreal to me that we had finally achieved pregnancy, so I was protecting myself. We hand painted his room. The theme was the Lorax. And this was just before he was supposed to come home. This picture was taken on our 11th anniversary, our son's due date. And as you can see, he didn't come that day. He wasn't quite ready. So I went to an appointment the next day. Actually, it wasn't an appointment. I called my midwife and I let her know that I felt like something was wrong. I did wake up that day feeling like something was wrong. And so we went in to see her. She had a very hard time finding his heartbeat. And long story short, we ended up going into the hospital to confirm that our son had passed away. So I was induced. It was a very difficult labor. I had a fever. I was in a lot of pain because the epidural didn't work. It worked on half of my body. So when I finally was able to have the C-section a day and a half later after I was induced, I could actually feel them cutting. And they didn't believe me, so they did what's called twilight sleep. And I can remember the anesthesiologist telling my husband that I wasn't going to remember any of this, and I'm telling you that she said that, so I obviously remember it. So he was born via C-section. He was 8 pounds 7 ounces on August 22nd around 7 p.m. 2013. I was very drugged. I barely remember any of this. We got to hold him for about an hour. Our family came and everybody got to hold him and say goodbye. My husband was able to bathe him and clothe him, which is something I didn't get to do. We did get a lot of pictures. This here is our only family photo, which I love. I wish we could have had more, but this is what we have. So, and we opted to have him cremated, so he's still with us. Just some statistics so you know, 10% of women will experience infertility. 1 in 5 women will experience miscarriage. 1 to 2% of women experience recurrent pregnancy loss. About 24,000 babies are stillborn each year in the United States. I am one of the unlucky people that falls into every one of those categories. Approximately 19,000 babies die within their first month of life. Nearly 35,000 babies die annually due to SIDS and SUDS. Nearly 24,000 children die annually in the United States before their first birthday. People don't know these things, and they should. So, a little bit about grief. This is in the textbooks, often a lot of textbooks, even some of mine, as I'm studying to become a therapist. I'm seeing these accepted sort of linear paths that our grief is supposed to take: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. And in my personal experience, as well as dealing with other grieving parents, that is not how it goes. This is more realistic to how we experience grief. It's not linear at all. It can sneak up on us whenever. Time does not make it better or easier for us. It changes. It's something that we carry with us all the time, and many of us consider that a welcome feeling because that's what we have left of our children. Here's some grief myths. All losses are the same. All bereaved parents grieve in the same way. We grieve in stages. Infant death isn't difficult because the parents didn't know the child. Tears are a sign of weakness. The goal is to let go of the loved one who died and move on with life. It is better to avoid talking about the loss for fear of reminding the bereaved. So that's something that I have encountered with friends, with family, anyone that's close to me. They have this idea that they can remind me of my son when, in fact, it's something that I wouldn't even want to get out of my head. It never leaves. And really, it's more helpful to me if they do mention him, because then I know that he's not forgotten. Baby loss grief is a little bit different than losing an older child, losing a parent, a spouse, a grandparent. Obviously, it's quite different. So what do we lose when we lose a baby? We lose the baby. Sometimes we lose the pregnancy experience. We have lost the parenting experience. And we've lost their future, hopes, dreams, expectations. Those are things that we're grieving for along with the loss of our baby. So how do you help a bereaved family? Say something. Be careful with your words. It's a very delicate process, and I don't actually have that process down myself because it changes. It changes all the time. What I would like to hear, what I need to hear, what I don't want to hear. Avoid platitudes. So a personal sort of pet peeve of mine is when people let me know that everything happens for a reason or that my son is in a better place. And speaking with many other grieving parents like myself, there's no better place for our children than in our arms. So that comment is just not helpful. Be honest with us. If you don't know what to say, let us know. If you're sad, you can let us know that too. If it's difficult to talk to us, you can let us know that. All of those things are far better than ignoring us. Don't try to fix it. It can't be fixed, first of all. It cannot be fixed. There's nothing you can say or do that's going to take that away. Don't be afraid to cry. It can be very comforting to us to know that you are experiencing and feeling those emotions a little bit differently than we are, but you are feeling them. Listen to us. We will have a lot to say, and not a lot of people will listen to us. So if you're willing to, we appreciate that. We need that. Avoid judgments. There are still days, 4 years after my son's death, that I wake up and I don't want to get out of bed that day. I have, over the years, learned to force myself and sort of wear that mask when I need to continue to function, but the feelings are still there. Also, if somebody's feeling happy, you shouldn't judge them in that way, meaning If they're happy, if they look happy, it doesn't mean that they've gotten over it. So that's something you definitely would avoid saying. Be willing to sit in silence. Sometimes we don't need words. We just need to know that somebody's there with us. Let us talk about the baby, how they died, our experience with them. I don't have any experiences with my son outside of the pregnancy, but I do have plenty of pregnancy stories. I know his personality. I know that he liked Doctor Who. He loved the theme song. And so if people are willing to hear those things, it's sort of a way that we can keep our baby's memory alive. So don't make assumptions about outward appearances. I kind of touched on that regarding if we look happy, if we look sad. You can't assume. So maybe I didn't feel like taking a shower that day, but it doesn't mean that I'm dysfunctional. Here's some things you can physically do. Shop for groceries, run errands, help with funeral arrangements. That was kind of a very surreal moment for me when we were sitting in the hospital bed after they took our son out of the room because they let us know that he was decomposing and we could no longer hold him. My husband had to get on the phone and let the funeral he had to call the crematory and let them know that we needed them to come pick our son up to cremate him. And I'm not sure that I ever heard him refer to him as our son before that. And to hear that, him say that about our son the first time he talked about it is just really, it's heartbreaking. You can stay at the home if they request it. Some people want their privacy, so make sure you ask. You can field phone calls for them, help with insurance forms, bills, take care of housework, laundry. If they have other children or pets, you can help them take care of them. Be their chauffeur. They might need rides somewhere. I know with me having a C-section, it was difficult for me to get around for a while. Go with them to a support group because then that really does show your dedication and your open mind to sort of the bereaved parent culture. Take a walk with them. Take them out to lunch. Do something fun just to sort of give their mind a break. Not that they're going to be forgetting about their child during that or anything like that. It just sort of gives the grieving mind a little bit of a break. Things that you can do to help them remember. Memorabilia items. With the pregnancy and infant loss community, this is a huge, huge thing. Anything with our baby's names on it, their birth date, symbols. So I mentioned that our son liked Doctor Who, so that's actually something that I attached to him. So anytime somebody sees something Doctor Who and sends it to me, I know that they're thinking of my son. You can help them plan a memorial. We did not have a funeral right after our son died. We actually had it on what should have been his first birthday, and definitely planning with that would have been helpful. Send a card, light a candle, take a picture of a candle, and send it to them and let them know you're thinking of their baby. Definitely say their child's name. You can donate in their child's name, do a random act of kindness, attend a remembrance walk or a remembrance event. So, what does Hope After Loss do? We offer peer support. Peer support has been proven to be the preferable means of support for people grieving in general, and especially grieving the loss of a pregnancy or infant, because that is a very specific experience. So people like to be with people that understand them. We send out anniversary cards on either the birth death anniversary, or both, whichever the parent prefers. We have a lending library with books about grief, books about getting through the first year, things like that. Blankets, we have blankets donated by people so that we can give to parents that have a subsequent pregnancy after their loss. We have a Facebook and website. It's not as active as it should be. We're working on that right now. And another thing that's not on this list that we have just taken on is burial gowns. We get these burial gowns from people that have donated wedding dresses, donated their time to make little burial gowns for these babies that never get to make it home. We also have events. We have the Footprints on Our Hearts walk. We have that around October 15th every year. It has a really good turnout. We do a remembrance. We say babies' names. It's really just a really sweet remembrance event where we can gather together, and we don't have to wear that masks, the mask that we have to wear usually, and we're just there, no judgment. The Compassionate Care Awards is something that we do in the spring. A care provider, medical, mental health that works with our pregnancy and infant loss community is selected to receive sort of an appreciation award. We have a winter and spring remembrance where we do a craft. Oftentimes it'll be like an ornament with a baby's name on it or something along those lines. This year we're doing a tiny message in the bottle for the winter remembrance, and the parents can write a little note and put that message in the bottle, and they can carry it around their neck or whatever they want to do with it. We also do an online candle ceremony October 15th where we post a picture or a video of a candle and offer people to say their baby's name on the thread. Burial and cremation is very expensive in Connecticut, and that is not a burden that parents should ever have to think about. What we can do at Hope After Loss is donate $150 towards cremation, $300 for burial, and this is not enough, but this is what we can do right now. I do have some funeral homes that will work with us in terms that whatever we can pay, that's all that they charge the parents. So that's really helpful, because like I said, that's not something that anybody should ever have to worry about. We also do outreach and education like this right here. Just educating people about the bereaved parent culture and what Hope After Loss does and what we can offer, and just to get our name out there. Fundraising, people that need the support groups that don't know about us, all of these things. So here are the references for our presentation. And if you have any questions, I'm going to send this along with my contact information so that you can get a hold of me. And thank you for watching this, and I hope you learned a lot. Thank you.